Okuluk awoke with a start the third night in a row. The same recurring dream had once again haunted his sleeping consciousness. Next to him, Raphaelin didn't stir. She was in deep dreams. Unable to find peace, he got up. Cleaning his sweaty face with water and drying it with a towel, he looked into the bathroom mirror. Sleep was getting rarer and rarer, and it started to show. "What's wrong, dear?" The angelic voice of his wife came from the door. Nothing. He lied, although his posture over the sink was surely giving him away. Letting his head drop, he closed his eyes before adding, "I can't sleep." "Ah, Okuluk," she uttered gently while coming closer. "You're home. You're not in— It's not the war." He cut her short as it suddenly broke out of him. Raphaelin stopped in her tracks, unsure if his anger was directed towards her. Okuluk sighed as he scolded himself for being that harsh. The sleeplessness was getting to him. "It's not," he repeated in his usual submissive tone to apologize. "Not the war." He finished the sentence that left a bitter taste in his mouth, like any reminder of the trenches. "What is it then?" Okuluk stared into her sky-blue eyes to find comfort. The recent nightmare was still playing on repeat in his head. "It's—" He hesitated, fully aware of how impossible it sounded. "It's hell." Raphaelin's mouth opened slightly as she gasped in shock. Lucifer hadn't shown any intention of dragging the former demon back to hell. The more unsettling was the possibility of hell reaching out to him. Perhaps the fires below called out because he had killed, because he had seen another kind of hell. He had turned mortal. He shouldn't be connected to his former home in a supernatural way. Not anymore. But the vision remained the same, and it started to impact his life to a larger degree each day, even more than the small symptoms of shell shock that tended to surface now and then. Sleep didn't return for the last few hours until Okuluk had to get to work. The morning was as grey as his mood, or as the muddy fields in France. Fighting the grimness that threatened to take hold of his soul once again, Okuluk went to work. There, in solitude amongst coins and numbers, he cared for the business finances. After the war, he had taken over Oliver's duties as well. Luther's most trusted and close friend hadn't returned from France. A bullet to the shoulder and tuberculosis had done him in the end. Bullets had done in so many in the end. "You're having a bad day, Paul?" The vampire's voice let Okuluk snap out of his memories. "I'm fine," he answered dismissively as his mind returned to the present. "Told you to not be part of it," his friend added in a warmer tone, which was probably supposed to ease the former demon. It had quite the contrary effect, making Okuluk feel as if he was some pitiful sort. Hot anger suddenly rose up, causing him to snap more at himself than the vampire. "I wasn't going to do nothing like in the rebellion." "So you did it for what? To make amends?" Luther kept harassing the man. "I did it to protect my home. Because the last time I lost it." Okuluk cooled down as quickly as he had blown up. "You wouldn't have ended up in a lake of fire. This is Earth. But you will end up in one if you die with all that guilt." Signaling his friend their conversation was finished, Okuluk concentrated on his work without replying. With as much guilt as relief, he sighed when the vampire left him to himself. He would push them away and end up alone if he didn't get a grip on himself. Why couldn't they just leave that topic? It hurt talking about it. His mind went back there often enough on its own. He didn't need extra reminders. Perhaps I deserved to end up in one. When he came home, Raphaelin had already cooked dinner. As always, she spared no effort to show him that he was loved, even in his ragged condition. A love that had only grown over time, and yet since being in the field he had difficulties to show her his feelings as openly as before. The war had taken something from him. He didn't even know what it was. "If there's anything I can do," she said, taking his hand, as his thoughts were far away once again. Okuluk focused on his surroundings and smiled at his wife. "You are doing enough already," he said as gently as he knew. "Perhaps," she started carefully, "perhaps you should visit Dean and tell him." "I don't know if I should trouble him with that. I think he would appreciate our visit nonetheless." After a moment she added, "And I think the change of scenery might ease your mind." Okuluk knew there was no easing, but he left the statement unspoken. Rayfillin was trying to help. They all were in their personal ways. He just was unable to take it. Still, he cherished her warmth when they went to sleep. He had missed it in the long years of fighting. Many a time he'd feared to never feel it again. He held her tightly when she snuggled up to him, remembering once again the icy nights in the trenches when he'd dreamt of holding her only to find her gone upon waking up to the early gunfire. This time she wouldn't go. He wouldn't let her go. The calm in his mind yielded quickly when the same dream that had started haunting him nights before caused him to turn from side to side. When the demon in front of him raised his spear to deliver the last blow, Okuluk heard the voice of the one through whose eyes he saw cry out, "Please, let him go!" Hands belonging to other demons held him in place, as yet another demon in the middle lay defenseless beneath his executioner's blade. His body was marked by countless wounds and scars. His wings had been stripped of feathers and flesh, leaving only a bloody skeleton. He was the personification of pain as it had existed in the early days of hell. "Make me," the demon with the spear sneered before thrusting it into the battered demon's heart. The bloody blade protruded from the back and buried itself in the rocky ground. A few last trembles went through the dying demon as he gripped the spear in a weak attempt to remove it. When the light was extinguished, Okuluk caught his dead friend's body. The eyes stared vacantly into nothingness, and the following wail let Okuluk's consciousness snap back into his own body at once. Moving to the edge of the bed, he put his head into his hands and breathed deeply. A hand on his shoulder let him whip around. His mind was already prepared to slay the enemy. He stopped when he realized that it was Rayfillin. His breath faltered and he got up to bring safe distance between her and himself. Seeing her hurt expression, he countered with guilty shame. "I need some fresh air." "Promise you'll come back before work," she pleaded with him. Okuluk tried to smile, but he was sure it was a failed attempt. "I promise." Outside, his mind wandered back to the strange dream at once. He did have a similar experience back then on Blackwood's premises. He had somehow come into contact with Rayfillin's consciousness and seen her memories. What if someone down there was crying out for help? Kane did have enough support after all when he had taken over hell. Rayfillin was right, he had to talk to Dean. He didn't want to burden the old occultist, especially when he had to fight his own battles. Yet the former demon had no other way of contacting Lucifer. Climbing onto the roof of a small house, Okuluk was elevated enough to see the first beams of the rising sun. "I can feel your misery, Okuluk-san," Atsushi rasped into the man's ear from seemingly nowhere. A soft breeze ruffled Okuluk's ash-blonde hair when the kitsune moved to sit down to his right. A moment passed in which the former demon stared towards the sky. "Atsushi." "Yes, Okuluk-san. Is it just me, or does every dawn look as red as blood nowadays? Is that living, starting to see danger everywhere?" "I'll say it again, as I said it so very often." The old fox spoke with warm wisdom. "Those men you shot knew what was coming. So did you. You were soldiers. Killing and getting killed was your trade. War is its own world, a world no civilian can fathom. Make peace with the past, Okuluk, lest it shall infect your soul and taint your heart. Don't you regret anything? Okuluk spoke without looking at his friend. Everyone regrets. I learned from my mistakes. I moved on, taking with me the wisdom gathered by suffering. Okuluk remained silent before muttering more to himself than to the fox. The past is an armor I can't take off, no matter how often you tell me the war is over. It's the ghosts that don't let go of me. He wondered if he would ever be able to move on. He wouldn't be able to go on like this forever. That was his one certainty. He would die, or he would beat his demons.